Kids learn about Sparky the dog and Smokey the bear. As we get older, many of these messages these characters told us begin to fade. Fire Marshal Brandon Boespflug is here to tell us how fires have evolved and how fires surprise people at home and at work. Thanks for being on the show with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
So what made you interested in becoming a firefighter? Was it a thing that started as a kid, or is it something you realized when you were older?
I actually grew up in the fire service. I got a grandfather that is a retired fire chief. A couple of his sons were firefighters, and I grew up in going to work with him, going to the fire station. So I guess in a sense it's in my blood.
He wasn't in the same department as you.
Nope, right? Nope. It's not from around here. Still in the state of North Dakota, but I guess it just over time I figured out that that's what I wanted to do.
Getting to see this with your grandfather and everything, how have things kind of changed within the fire departments?
Well, as things have changed, really, the fire service has changed just as technology has changed. Computers get bigger and better. So do things in the fire service, and with that, as fires intensify. Back in the early 70s, there was fires. There were very bad fires. They would have fires daily, whether it was in the city of Grand Forks, Bismarck, New York City. They actually came out with a publication called America Burning. They knew that there was a large fire problem throughout the nation that needed to be addressed. Buildings were built very strong, very sturdy, so you'd have a bad fire, but you weren't having building collapses and things of that nature. Yeah. Now today, as it's evolved 30-some years later, buildings are built cheaper, if you will, lightweight building construction, and it's much more dangerous for the firefighters.
Yeah, so is your only job to fight fires then, or what else do the firefighters do?
Well, firefighters, the ones that we call them line firefighters, they work 24 hours a day. They respond to medical emergencies, they respond to citizens assist, and fires. My job as a fire marshal is a little bit different than that. I spent time riding the fire trucks. I did all that, and now my job is to work 8 to 5, and I prevent the fires from happening. My job basically is to put them out of a job, if you think about it that way.
So what are some common scenarios that can cause fires? I mean, are cigarettes, cooking, that sort of thing?
Cooking's the number one cause of fire deaths or fire injuries. Cigarettes certainly are a cause of fires. And then also just complacency, the way people treat their electronics, things of that nature, or even a space heater. They plug in a space heater because they're cold or they're trying to supplement heat. In North Dakota, we get pretty cold winters. They plug in a space heater to get a little bit extra heat. They put a blanket next to it. All of a sudden that blanket's on fire.
Yeah, I suppose it's pretty easy when that kind of thing. So what are some things that people can do individually at their homes? You said cooking was definitely one of the number one causes. Yep. What are some of those things?
I guess one of the things with cooking is you never want to leave, you never want to cook unattended. And what we mean by that is, yes, boiling water, you don't have to sit and watch the water boil. But if you're deep frying, you're making bacon, something like that, even making a pizza, don't put it in and go take a shower or go to bed or do something that's going to make you forget that something was in the oven.
So be alert.
Yep.
Sort of.
Yep. Be alert.
Yep. And you have to stay in the kitchen as well too. You think that's a better idea than walking in the other room?
It really depends, I guess, on the scenario. If you're making a turkey and it's going to take you 6 hours to cook your turkey in your oven, I wouldn't advise turning the oven on and sitting in front of it and watching your turkey cook.
Yeah.
Something like that is okay. But if you're deep frying or
stick around.
Stick around.
Yeah, we had a picture up there that said another one that was to check it regularly too. I mean, if you're doing, like you said, a turkey or something like that, just check on it every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Okay, so kids are educated regularly on fire safety, but what are some things that adults might forget about?
Well, the big problem is we educate kids at an early age. We start when they're in preschool. We go until they're in about 3rd grade. After that, their lives become so busy, they become complacent, and older adults become complacent. College students become complacent, and even into the adult years and the senior citizens, everybody becomes complacent. They forget about what they learned at an early age about fire safety. Yeah. And they, it does. If we got some smoke from a burnt toast, they take a battery out of a smoke detector and they forget to put it back in. Next thing they know, they have a fire caused by something else. They don't have a working smoke detector. They either are injured badly or they succumb to the fire.
Yeah. So what is one piece of advice if you could give people on how to prevent fires from their homes or workplace or wherever they're at?
The one piece of advice, if I can give any advice, is for people to have a working smoke detector. And I never give one piece of advice. I always give 2. So you have to have a working smoke detector, and you have to practice a home escape plan. What that means, when that smoke detector goes off, you need to know how to get out of your house. You know, 2 ways out. You need to know if you got a window, how to get out of that window, and your family needs to know that too. So for the adults, the kids need to know what sound that smoke detector makes and what it means when it goes off. So you get out of the house and stay out of the house.
Do your senses really work when you're sleeping and that kind of thing?
Well, what happens when you fall asleep? Your eyes close. You lose your sense of smell, or excuse me, your sense of sight. The next thing you lose is you actually sense of smell. Yeah. Everybody thinks that a campfire, I'm going to smell if there's a fire burning in my house. Yes, you may, but more than likely, you're not going to. Your sense of smell is shut down, and then plus on top of that, during a fire, the smoke creates nauseous gases. It overcomes you quickly. So, but what you still have is your sense of hearing. And that's why it's so important to have a smoke detector that's working. Once that thing beeps in the middle of the night, you react to it.
So how can you kind of educate adults? You know, you go into the schools and do that kind of thing with kids when they're younger, but how do you educate adults?
Just what we're doing right now. I think that's, you know, that's really one of the things is reaching out to the community. We're working through the media sources, whether it's on TV, newspapers, or what have you, or even sometimes we go door to door and do some different campaigns. But the important thing is to educate those adults, is teach them that don't become complacent.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show
with us
today.